Welcome to the What's Up Verdict podcast, where we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-hosts Matt Heiner.
I say, better red than dead.
And Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification buttons. Help keep up with all of our episodes. Help support the podcast. To help do that, too, tell a friend about us. Tell a family member about us. Tell some hockey players about us. Yeah. We'd appreciate
your
that.
Friends with missing teeth about us. Also, probably hockey players.
That'll work too. Ironically enough, I have a funny story to go along with telling people about the podcast. I'll tell you a little later. Anyway,
teaser from JJ. Okay,
I know. With that, you should also go check out our Patreon. That's where all as Alex says, the magic happens. You can get in on voting for what movies we do, topics we pick for the month, and with that, we're in week two of July movies, which is our patriotic themed films. And we're kicking week 2 off with a bang with the movie Miracle. It was released February 6, 2004. It was written by Eric Guggenheim. It was directed by Gavin O'Connor. It stars Kurt Russell, Patricia Clarkson, Nathan West, Noah Emmerich, Sean McCann, Kenneth Welsh, Eddie Cahill, Patrick O'Brien Dempsey, Michael Mantenuto, that guy's a dick for his name, Kenneth Mitchell, Eric Peter Kaiser, Bobby Hansen, and a whole slew of other fake hockey players. It's about the story of Herb Brooks, the player turned coach who led the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team to victory over the seemingly invincible Soviet squad. So ironically enough, you're better red than dead is a little different.
Right, for here, right? It hits a little bit close to home.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'm a man of the people. I'm not rooting for communism here. It just happened to work out that way.
I think being a man of the people means you always root for communism.
I was just saying, you're towing a fine line there.
I'm going for a utilitarian society.
There you go. I don't think that word.
Can't wait to read your manifesto.
Yeah. We're gonna get banned on freaking YouTube. Anyway, with all that, Mattson, this was your pick, right? Am I crazy? This was Alex's pick?
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, this is the one you baited, Alec. You get me every time. You baited Alec. That's right.
This is the one I was like when he said, I was like, oh man, like what it wasn't on my radar for this theme, and then they came out like, what a great movie. So, anyways, the floor is Alex.
Yeah, this as soon as patriotic movies hit, this is the one that I was like, yep, this is going in there. It's such a good watch. I love Kurt Russell as Herb Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
Just phenomenal. And I love that it's something that I really love and appreciate that we kind of moving away from and don't get a lot of is the tough coaching, the really tough coaching. And it's hey, this is the standard. And if you're not there, you're gone.
Yeah.
Versus kind of like, oh, we'll change the standard to fit what the needs of. It's almost like the antithesis to Coach Lasso. But, both still accomplishing great things. Right. Yeah. So this is I love because I had coaches like this where it's toe the line. Mm-hmm. And you're in camp. You're like, fuck.
Oh yeah,
because your ass is running running. And so, I mean, this movie for me, it really just starts strong and just keeps going. And so it was always going to be on the list for me. I love this movie.
Yeah, it's a good one. What about you, Mattson? I know you're a big sports guy. I don't know how you feel about hockey though. I don't think we've ever talked about it.
Yeah, no, it's funny. So where I grew up in Virginia, the only good thing about sports around the D.C. area was the Washington Capitals, the Great Eight, Alex Ovechkin. So no, I like hockey. It's definitely one of those things for me that when my team's in it, like playoff hockey is amazing. One of my favorite things to do in person, seeing a hockey game live is awesome. Everyone should do it. It's amazing. I'm glad that Seattle has the Kraken now. I've been to one game and I want to go to some more. So I like hockey and I really like playoff hockey, but it's not something I will watch unless my team is in it. Where now, like football, especially football, and to a slightly lesser extent basketball, I'll watch those just because I love the sport and it doesn't matter who's playing. Hockey's different. Like if the Caps aren't in it, like it's just hard for me to. It just doesn't get me going. But that doesn't mean it's not a great sport to watch. And I grew up playing roller hockey in my cul-de-sac. Like we played a lot. We played so much. This is funny. Our Russian neighbors, as we called them, because they were Russian and they moved in and they hated kids. They called the cops because we played so much, and the cops came and were like, they're just playing hockey. So, and we weren't wearing helmets, so they told us to wear helmets and they left because, like,
yeah,
what are they going to do, right?
Yeah.
And this was in the 90s, so thankfully everyone was still playing outside, and like, just what happened. So we played a lot. So I liked hockey, and I didn't know about this story till I saw this movie. And I don't remember how young I was. I was young, maybe like preteen. I don't know. I can't put a thumb on when I actually saw this, but I mean, this movie is as good as like Remember the Titans. It just is hockey. And the nice thing about this movie, besides unfortunately like the speech that the coach gives in the locker room that didn't actually happen. It happened, but not that speech, because they made it really epic. It's like all like really true. Like, and they didn't, unlike Remember the Titans, where it really hurt how untrue that movie is. Like, they didn't have to make this up. Like, we did it, and it was that epic. And I think that's one of the things I really like about this movie is it's a real movie about a real story, and it barely is fabricated, and that doesn't really happen anymore. And it's just a kick-ass story. Like, the feeling you get through this movie that builds up to the end when you're like, oh shiz, they're actually going to take down I won't say what I was going to say. They're going to take them down. It just feels cool. And every time you watch this movie, I still get pumped and I get emotional in the speech and like the players and the underdog story. Like, it just gets you going. And it's one of those movies that if someone's like, yeah, let's watch Miracle, like, hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it's a good one. So I was fortunate enough when I was working for Children's Miracle Network hospitals, we had this big work function, and they actually brought in Mike Eruzione. So I've met Rizzo, like, really nice guy. It was really cool. Like, he gave he's a public speaker now, basically. Like, that's just what he does. I think he wrote a book. But yeah, he came and spoke and talked about, that year. And I was born the year after this. So like, it was still very much the conversation, when I was a little kid. I remember vividly like how proud everybody was. And then the expectations around the next year in 84, when we started having all the pros get into it. And then, you know what I mean? So it's like, it was interesting to hear the conversations around it. And I remember it. I didn't think anything of it, obviously, at the time, but all growing up, like, till I was probably 9 or 10, like, that was just the thing when it came to the Winter Olympics was the 1980 Miracle on Ice. So it was wild. But meeting Rizzo was really cool. Like, he's a really nice guy. And I laughed and I made that joke about telling a hockey player, because we didn't have a podcast back then, because it was the next job that had me meeting all the fellas to get this thing started. But it was ironic because there was a couple of guys that had a podcast for the Children's Miracle Network that they then went to Mike and was like, hey, you should listen to our podcast and then you should come on it. And he actually did. He was like I said, he was a really cool guy, very nice. And it was interesting to hear, like, to your point, Mattson, like, a lot of this is very true and follows it very well. But you're right. Like, we asked him, like, did you guys really have that one night where he skated you into oblivion before? He's like, oh, dude, he goes, we had nights like that all the time where it was like constant just sprints. But he goes, the one thing that didn't happen was me spouting off, I'm Team USA and like moving along. And that's what got us out of it. He goes, that didn't happen. He goes, it was like, they throw in some really cool creative licensing, but he goes, other than that, like, he goes, the cool part is Herb was very involved, I guess, in the movie making process of this. And like, they consulted him and made sure that he, it was pretty true to form. And unfortunately he passed away just before the movie came out, but So very interesting listening to him talk about scoring that goal, and then like the whole just camaraderie that this team had. And so it was fun. I was really, really privileged. It was really cool to be able to meet him and hear him talk about it. So it adds another layer for me every time I've watched this movie since then, because this is one of Casey's favorites. She loves hockey and she loves this movie. So it really kind of was cool to just sit and listen to him talk about that season or that year, and talk about getting to that point, and how Herb was a dick, but they make him more of a dick in this movie than he actually was. Like, but there was like, he did bust his face's ass at halftime about the bruise on his leg. Like, and like, really, he's like, yeah, dude, he would use just these uncommon, almost brutal ways to motivate us, but it would piss us off. And we'd go out and be nutbags after, because we're just like, this is some bullshit. And so it was really cool to listen to and talk about it. But yeah, it was fun. So he was a really cool guy.
So one thing I want to set the stage for the listeners who have seen this or haven't. Hopefully, if you haven't, make sure you watch this. Like, in terms of how good the Soviet Union was. So leading up to the 1980 Olympics, they had won the previous 4 gold medals from 64 to 76. In that time, leading up to that, they were 27-1-1, so 27 wins, 1 loss, 1 tie, and they outscored opponents 175 to 44, and they had not lost an Olympic game since 1968. It's just unreal. And so the other big thing that was hard about that, and what this movie shows, is we couldn't use like our like NHL All-Stars, but even if we did, a year before the 1980 Olympics, the Soviet national team defeated an NHL All-Stars game in 2 games, the Challenge Cup, which was like a 6-0 game, and then another game as well. So they just were crushing people. And that game leading up to the Olympics that Team USA played them, we lost 10-3, like, and that was like a month before. Like, that's just not like, that's in hockey, like in football terms, that would be like I don't know,
7-3.
Something like, yeah, you just get obliterated, just like absolutely like blown, the wheels blown off. And so I just wanted to set that again, because that's what makes this so epic, whether it's a movie or just a sporting event people watch, is because it truly was a miracle. Like, I don't know if there was Vegas odds for this. I'm sure we could go back and look. Like, we would have been a blip, like 10,000 to 1 or whatever, like the highest odds were, like, or they probably didn't even offer odds, because it was so like, not going to happen. So I think that's the other thing that makes this awesome, is because what an epic underdog story. And I think when you think about America and like the pride we had, we fought our way to be a independent nation and took down the big bad British Empire, and we were taking down another big bad adversary on the hockey rink. So go America.
America.
Yeah.
That's funny. To that point, it was really interesting. Like I said, when we met Rizzo, like, he talked about, if you gave us 100 times to play this team again, we would lose 99 of them. Like, he goes, just there were so many things that came into play. The fact that they blew the doors off of us, a few weeks before, they didn't think there was anything to us after that. Like, we were this scrappy little team, but you beat us 10-3. Dude, most hockey games combined don't even get close to 10 goals, let alone one team. So it's
these days, we should say they are a little bit different with the blue line changes, but back then, like, not even close. Even close.
I remember one of my first hockey games, I was like, this shit's boring, because it was like 1-0. I was like, the only thing I watch this shit's for is the fights. You know what I mean? Because but so back then it was crazy. And he was like, that team fully prepared, not overconfident, and us not just playing out of our minds good and being super motivated in the crowd there. We lose 99 out of 100 times to that team. He goes, it's not to say we wouldn't make it close, much closer than the first time, because we were way out of our league the first time. We didn't even know what we were getting into. He goes, but yeah, so it's really interesting to him listen, and for him to admit, like, this was a once in a lifetime thing. Like, this doesn't happen consistently. This is, one of my favorite parts of this movie in that game section when they're, because there's like 30 minutes of this movie is that game. So I really love the part where they pull Tradiak and he's like, well, fellas, there's the best hockey. And what you don't see is if you go back and rewatch the broadcast, like all you hear is Al Michaels at one point in the movie, he says, which is real audio. Like they pulled that straight from the actual TV, but they play it as like, he's never, not something you see happen very often with Tradiak. No, dude, when that happened, like they lose their fucking minds. Like they're like, what's happening right now? Tradiak's on the bench? Are you shit? It was like a 5-minute conversation about what the fuck, you know, because this guy just was like a goal stopping machine. And that's how screwed up this coach was. He didn't know what the hell to do because these little American pups were scoring and running them all over the place. So it's just a cool story.
But you bring another good point. I liked how some movies do this where they can take old footage and blend it, and they did such a good job with going back and forth and using the actual Al Michaels commentaries. I mean, one of the legendary comment game callers in the game, and he's one of the reasons this is also so iconic because what he said. I mean, that's one of the all-time greatest calls ever in the history of sport. So I think it's great that they figured out a way to weave that in, and what felt very authentic and had that build up because they focus so much on the game. And that's the other thing I really like. Some of these sports movies, they do a good job until almost the very end where I want them to lean more into the game. And sometimes they don't. Like one of the reasons I've loved Friday Night Lights is that last game, they lean into it all the way. And obviously it's a true story. It doesn't go the way that you're hoping. But this movie Miracle, the tension is palpable. Like it's there, like you're feeling it. Even when we're up there, like, oh my gosh, like they're just hitting them and hitting them and hitting. They're coming. Like, are we going to hold on? You know how much time is left on the clock. You're like, how are they going to survive? And the acting is so great because you know that every kid on that it's their shift. They're just giving every ounce of all they've got, and you just feel it. You feel like you're on the bench with them, and I love that.
Yeah. Alec, who's your favorite character in this? I mean, I know you said besides Coach.
Oh, besides.
Yeah, because Kurt Russell, look, if Kurt Russell isn't your top, or at least near it, because he kills it in this movie, but who's your favorite outside of Kurt Russell?
That'd be Jack O'Callahan.
Yeah. Love that dude.
I know nothing about hockey, still really don't, but I think this movie does a great job of kind of showing hockey or the kind of the brain behind it. But for me anyway, like every time I watch this, I'm continuously shocked by how almost strategic it is. And I don't know if that's true in actual hockey, but you get down like you guys were talking about to the wire in this game, and he's like, short shifts, let's go. Like, that's a nightmare. Every 30 seconds, 40 seconds, you're subbing out a new line. Like, the logistics behind that is crazy, first of all. And then he's got the Russian coach back, and he's like, hey, I got my next 4 moves planned down. This guy doesn't even know which way the puck's going. And so you have this almost, while the game is going on the ice, you also have this almost chess match between the coaches of here's who I'm playing, here's who I'm swapping out. When this, if A happens, B, C, and D happens. And it's not the same in the sports I grew up playing, like football, basketball, soccer. Like it's very, very much a little bit of an ISO, or, you have your match, you have your zone, or whatever it may be. This is way different to where it's like, hey, I have 1, 2, and 3, right? And we're playing 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1, trying to confuse or adjust or get the best matchup for each line. And so it's like, dude, these guys are like, as chaotic as it is already with the period system in hockey and going back and forth. And then on top of that, you have this revolving door of subs and everything going on. Like, it's a lot. And to be able to do that and kind of poke fun at your coach at the same time, like, I was like, and the other part is I was sitting there going, how do they know when to sub out? There's no way you are hearing anything in this arena.
Yeah.
At this time during this game, but it's just the drilling and the repetition, kind of knowing what's happening or what's going on. But it's like, dude, the hockey players are something else.
Hockey's an
That's for
enigma
sure.
to me. Like, I love watching it with Casey because she gets really excited, and I'm with you, Matt. I love going to a live hockey game. Like, even though I don't, but I've never fully been able to grasp the game of hockey. And one of the things that I get super, like, I'm with you, Matt or Alec. Like, when they do a line change and you just see that, like, all of a sudden there's like 19 guys on the freaking ice. I'm like, what the shit is happening? And they're running off and jumping out of the box and jumping in the box. I'm like, this is the only sport that I know of that, like, there's no time. Like, you don't sub actively playing. I'm like, what happens if they screech down here and score on your ass because your dumb ass couldn't get over the wall? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's stressful shit to me.
And the other thing is that I couldn't wrap my head around is it was shown a couple times. Like, you almost give up possession to sub.
Mhm.
Like, you send it down the line, and I'm just sitting there going, now why the fuck would you do that?
Yeah.
Because your guys are so like skating that hard for a minute and 40 seconds. Like that's hockey players go
They're
flat out.
bursts.
That's why you gotta sub out, and so it's strategic. Like you're gassed, get it out.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a great shot of it in that game where he sends it all the way down, and then all of these guys start swapping out the line, and you're like, when the cone heads come in, I'm like, that's crazy. Like, it just is one of these things that I can't wrap my head around because I'm like, just fucking call timeout. Stop the clock, fucker. Stop the clock. Like,
That's exactly how most of the world feels about American football. They're like,
oh yeah,
takes
takes too
stop
long.
every 5 seconds. Like,
Yep.
like
Oh,
these
yeah.
fat boys can't get down the field, especially rugby players. They probably just shake their heads.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because even soccer or football, like non-American football, is like they stop the game to sub in. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and then they add extra time. But it's the only sport that I know of that actively subs with an active game. Like, they don't stop for most of their subs.
Well, it's
Like,
because it happens. It's the sport that you gotta sub out like every minute
Sure.
and 30 seconds. Technically, they could do that in basketball, but it's just not as strenuous. So hockey is
Yeah.
just a much more like that's a sport. Your roster, you have your starters, you have your line that plays more, but you're playing like 4 lines on
Yeah.
every position. So you technically have a bench, but it's very different than any other sport in that
Yeah.
regard.
Well, I
sure,
was,
you'd
like,
have to stop
just
it every.
hold on to
90 seconds.
possession. Like, hang out behind the goal with the puck while your team goes back.
But if you do, depending on who it is, like if your defenseman or he slaps forward, then you're going to get off rotation and have people play that aren't as. And I definitely clearly what I mean. I don't know if I've watched more JJ if Casey likes hockey, but I understand it more the strategy behind why you'd make those plays.
Yeah. No, you've probably watched way more hockey than me. If it's not live and Casey's not I don't. It's not my kind of sport. But which is funny because it feels real good in those arenas because it's cold. My favorite.
I was going to say, like in terms of atmosphere,
yeah,
probably the sport that you should like the
it's
most.
my jam. Yeah. I will say, like, we've watched a lot of, like, we've gone to a lot of hockey games live because we used to only have one hockey team here in Utah. Now we have 2 for the time being.
Yeah,
but
semi-pro hockey is not the same.
I don't know, dude. I love to go into. I've been to. So we went to a.
I've been to the
Vegas.
arenas you're talking about, the AAA ones.
Yeah, but the Grizzlies, man, that was fun. We sat rink side next to the bench. That was kind of cool watching them jump in and out. I got hit with a puck that game. It hurt like hell. They hit one and it went up in the air and then it like hit this like some post down there and fell down, hit me. I had a bruise like this big on the middle of my back. They gave me the puck though. Casey's got it in her office.
I still at some point want to go to a pro game and I'm going to sit in one of the corners on the board so I can bang on the boards like people are stuck there.
It's cool. Yeah, I've been to the Knights. We went to a Knights game. It's fun.
Like a production.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, this movie's great, and you can go on YouTube and watch the real broadcast of this game, which is very interesting. I recommend it, like, because it's hard to watch because it's fuzzy. It's 1980. The fucking quality sucks, but like watching. And if you keep in mind that, like I said, the average age was 21 years old. These were kids. Like, these were children basically playing grown-ass men who'd been playing together for years in a very harsh environment, and that was their expectation, was to win. But watching them play minute for minute with that Russian team, it's crazy. It's a pretty cool game to watch.
Question I had for the group, because I feel like we're getting to the end of this one, is since this is a true story, I've always wondered, as a writer, is it easier to write a movie like this, or is it easier to write an original script? I'm just curious what the crew thinks.
I think it's harder to write a movie like this.
Tell us.
You have less freedom. I don't know if where you're going with it, Alec, but that's my thought is.
I was kind of going that way because you're taking a gamble, right? Because there's lots of true stories where you're stuck in what you can say, without going that unbelievable type of a thing. And so you're writing this and having the source material already made. You could be like, oh, it'd be so cool if we added this. And you can't. Or maybe you do, but then you run the risk of 20 years later, Mattson Heiner on the What's Our Verdict podcast talk about how your movie is shit because
not this one.
And disappointed about how it comes out. But yeah, so I think it's harder because you don't have that ability to really let the creative go. At that point, it's almost like, well, this is what happened, that put that in. And, every little creative license that you're trying to stick in there is probably getting shot down.
Yeah. Well, and I think even in this one, especially like in some of them, like a Disney movie who tends to make these movies, that's even harder. Because I'm sorry, but Herb Brooks was not that PG when he was ripping ass and when he was giving motivational speeches. And so you got to like be careful with that kind of thing too. And then you have to write speeches that probably weren't as, awe-inspiring as like some of them feel in these types of movies. But yeah, the freedom just isn't there. Whereas an original, you can, it's not working, let's fucking change it. Instead of going, fuck this, then what happened isn't going to be entertaining. I think this movie is much more successful at it because of the nature of this story in general. But like, remember the Titans? I think I told you one of my old bosses lived in, like, he played on that team, not that team, but he went to that high school and a few years later played for the same coaches. Like, and he's like, I knew those guys. Like, my dad knew that, watched that team play, and he goes, it wasn't that exciting. Like, that story's not that cool in reality. It's really cool in reality, but it's not as cool as the movie. Like, it's not this just, oh, wow. But like this one is that point, but you still have to be like very careful about, you have to have these moments that you're like, okay, Herb Brooks just told him to get fucked and stop fucking around and quit being little bitches or whatever it is that he said. And you got to water that shit down. And then you got to make some speech that was probably like, the fuck are you guys doing? Let's go out and beat, Russia. This is crazy. Turn it into this like, look, guys, it's calm, cool, collected. You guys are amazing. Like, there's got to be some level of making it movie worthy. So yeah, I'm with Alec. I think
can't just say F Russia the whole time.
Well, could you also imagine trying to write this with Herb Brooks like standing over your shoulder as a consultant?
Yeah.
Going, that's not the way that happened.
I know Herb, but we got a
PG movie.
Yeah. You're not PG, my friend.
I guess when you put it in those contexts, like your creative license is kind of, it's capped. I could see that, but at the same time, coming up with something completely original, not something that is original, but like similar to another type of movie, but like is like a Christopher Nolan type movie. I feel like that's super hard to do as well. Really, like in the right way, that's gonna captivate an audience. So they both have their pros and cons, but I think overall, it sounds easier when you have something that's kind of laid out, where you have like a logical timeline. You just have to piece it together, but that doesn't mean it makes for a good movie. So it can be challenging. So I think that'd be a fun interview to ask a writer that's done both and like see what they would actually say. Because I'd be really curious. But that's something I just wanted to ask the group. So it was interesting to hear everybody's viewpoint.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised we don't have more movies that are just blatant ripoffs, where they take the story and just transplant it
into something different.
You mean like Harry Potter that came off of Star Wars?
Yeah.
No, more like there's a hockey movie that's Miracle, except it's the Norwegians are playing the
Oh,
Danes or
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. I mean,
Every time I see
or
the Harry
Mighty
Potter,
Ducks.
yeah, Mighty Ducks, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was,
Basically, Miracle with 12-year-olds.
Yeah, that's fair. Harry Potter is basically Star Wars with wands.
Yep. Oh, it's not basically. It is absolutely fucking the same movie. But anyway, that's a whole different topic. With that, let's rate this bitch. Alec, kick us off, buddy.
my movie. It's been a while since I've got to go first. You guys have been
I know.
taking all the picks. 5. Easy. I will watch this movie anytime, anywhere. Sit down. It's one of the few, I'll say, like based on true story movies that I really enjoy. It's hard to, I mean, it feeds into my nature. Kurt Russell in this, and by extension, Herb Brooks is my spirit animal. So, like, I love lines like, "You're trying to win on talent alone. The problem is you don't have enough talent."
Yeah.
Like that gets me. I'm like, oh yeah. So that's right up my alley. I'll sit down and watch this one.
Basically,
Anytime,
we're
anywhere.
watching Alec as coach, and
Oh yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
The whole concept of you will be the most in shape team is exactly my coaching philosophy.
we just need kicking and screaming too, with Alec as the coach and just like coaching like 10-year-olds, and just all of them have to go into therapy and like they lose their confidence. Like it's just,
We see them 20 years later and they're all trauma bonded. And
yeah,
fucked
they're
up.
just like, this guy ruined my life. And Alex
Okay.
like, you just weren't good enough. They weren't good
Yeah.
enough. I don't
Yeah.
care. He wouldn't care. He'd be like, whatever. they're
Soft babies.
Alec bursts into their therapy session. You can't even fucking cry right, bitches. Like,
Toe the line.
Oh shit, that's great. All right, Mattson, what about you?
5. Easy. Watch the same thing anytime, anywhere. One of the, I mean, the only movie I like maybe more than this is based off a true story, just because it's football, not hockey, Friday Night Lights. But this, I mean, this movie's incredible. Like this incredible movie. And like I said, I think what makes it just that much more is it really happened. It's basically true to form. And they even weave in actual footage and commentary. So you feel like for the people that watch it live, they might just get transported back to where they were watching it. And that's awesome. It's a great movie. I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5. It's great. I relate not to Alec as to how I would be a coach, because I don't think I would be that coach, but that's the type of coach that got the best out of me when I was playing sports, was the one that was brutally honest, didn't fluff, didn't try to tell me I'm better than I was, but pushed me and made me feel, pissed me off enough that I'm like, well, I'll show you, motherfucker. Like, that's when I played my best sports, was when I was pissed. And typically it was the coach that got me there, if they were a good coach and they knew that about me. So not saying it's for everybody, but I always relate to, I watch Herb Brooks and I'm like, oh yeah, I'd have played my ass off for this motherfucker.
Same type of coach I need for me. And it actually happened where I didn't have that coach. And then I got that coach again. And I wasted like 2 years of high school needing that coach again. And then I went back to form. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad was that
places.
coach for me. And it pissed me off worse because he was really nice and friendly with all the rest of the team, but he was an absolute dick to me. But he knew that's what I needed. And so yeah, I played my ass off. So I respect that. I also love my favorite character is Jim Craig in this. Just because
I like him. Yeah.
36 saves in that game, dude. That's against Russia. Like, it's batshit crazy. Like the showcase this dude put on, because without him, we don't win this game even. Exactly. Like, and the guy that was backing up was really good, but we'd have got crushed without Craig in there. And all season, all that whole Olympic season would have been ugly without him, because he averaged like almost like high double digits for hockey in saves almost every game, if I remember right. But 36 saves against Russia, silly shit. So yeah, 5 for me. Great movie. I watch it anytime. Casey loves it. We own it. Like, I watch it. I
think you would be a player's coach.
Yeah, I would.
You'd be one of those guys they come to open up and feel good and connect with, and then you'd be able to motivate them because they trusted you. I feel like that's what you'd be.
Yeah, I'd probably be the nice guy that they really liked, and then all of that would allow me then to be a dick when I needed to be because they knew it was coming from a good place, versus, a Herb who's a dick, and then they go, "Oh wait, he is a nice guy."
I'm a whistle kind of coach.
And then there's Alec who's a dick, and then just really a dick.
Yeah.
I'll
But he'll
get
be
the best
happy
out
for
of
you
you,
when
but
you win. Yeah.
yeah, if you're too busy being mad at me, you can't be mad at each other. It's a great strategy.
Yeah. I do love a lot. He's like, I'm not here to be your friend. If you want to talk about some shit, go see him. I love it. All right. Well, there it is. Alec, tell everybody where they can find us.
Happy to. So thank you for tuning into week 2 of our patriotic movie month. Special shout out to our patrons, Rich and CB, for selecting our topic and selecting the movies that go into the topic on Patreon. I'll keep saying it until, it's no longer needs to be said, but Patreon is a place to get involved with the podcast. You can go on there, you can vote absolutely free to go and join the voting and pick the movies that we are doing each month. If you're looking to get involved in the content, go there, go on Patreon. If you do want to join and become a paid member, there are some perks that come along with it, including, I think we're up to over 500 extra blips, episodes, clips, behind the scenes content, stuff for you guys to enjoy, laugh your ass off, including all the behind the scenes stuff where we're absolutely making fun of each other. Speaking of which, we are in the current bragging, right? So my movie, my pick, I get 1 point this month. It's like the first time in 4 months.
Yeah,
it's fine.
You've had it rough.
I'm not salty at all. It's perfectly fine.
You like trash.
Okay. Okay. So with that, I'll turn it back to the Maharaja of MASH, the Colossus of Clout, a JJ.
That's right. Current High Point owner too, motherfuckers. And with that, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa!